Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your DevOps SRE DevSecOps coach. Okay, so today we'll have a short discussions, probably 1 hour discussions on understanding on what is DevOps. So probably this session will help you to address if someone is asking a question. Hey, what do you think about the DevOps? What is DevOps? Why do we need a DevOps? Why we are doing the DevOps? How can we implement the DevOps? So these are some of the questions which will be asked every time in a projects or interview. So we'll need to address those questions as well. I must tell you here. I must uh, tell you in a way like let me. So any whatever the definition we are using in the market, most of the time that definition is wrong in terms of DevOps. Lots of stereotype and misunderstanding we have around the DevOps. Many people has perceived the DevOps in a different ways and has resulted in multiple failures. So today, in the next 1 hour, we are going to consolidate all of our learnings around the DevOps, and if you have any problems, which can help you. Okay, so now how it got started. So we are going to discuss about the evolution of the software development lifecycle. So all it started, let's say the discussion is around 1990s. Okay, so 1990s, which we had it, and in some of the parameters which I'm going to consider here is like in terms of software platform, setup time, consumption, software delivery, release cycle, architectures, and development model. So if you go back to the era of 1990s, where we were running the software, which locations we were running the software, and that was a desktop based, right? All of you are agreeing for this. How much time it will take to set up one application? So let's say if I ask you, hey, I'm going to set up I'm going to ask you to run one applications, then you'll say, okay, I'll take 1 day. Why you'll take 1 day? Because you'll say I would look for the hardware, then I will install operating system, then I will install the dependency libraries, and then I'll install the application and then up and running. So probably it will take 1 day. How we used to consume the application 1990s, console based, like Windows console, Linux console, all this thing. And how we used to deliver the software in 1990s, CDs. We used to sell the CDs, you know that. In fact, I have used the FTTTs also, floppy disk. I don't know how many of you have used it. And if you ask software companies, let's say Microsoft and for Adobe, and we'll say, hey, you guys are selling a series of Adobe Photoshop, MS Office, or whatever it is. How many time? What is your release cycle? How frequently you do the release? And they'll say we do the release once in a year. Okay. So now you will ask why you are taking the release once in a year. Then they will say, hey, we are following we have architecture of the software which is monolithic. Monolithic means hundreds of features you have in one package itself, and the development model what we are following is waterfall model. So agree with me, all of you, 1990s, just for getting an idea.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, guys, let me tell you one of the strange thing. Before also we were doing the software development. And you know that any idea how many years it used to take for the software development? So in the waterfall model, we got the release cycle up to 1 year, right? But before that, there were 5 years down duration actually. That means we were developing a software in 5 years. DARPA and all few organization of USS, they were developing the software. They used to take 6 years, 5 years, 10 years, and by the time the release has come, the software is obsolete. So that was the kind of things which we are doing. So Microsoft and Adobe has reduced the cycle release cycle from 5 6 year to 1 year. That was a great thing at that time. But suddenly, what happened before that? Getting into the 2000 eras, this is waterfall model. If you see that how we used to develop a software. So first 2 months we'll spend on the requirement, then next 2 months we'll spend on the design, then next 2 months will or few months we'll spend on the implementation, that means development, and then testing, and then we'll support that. So you know that here in this initiative you have a five blocks, five initiative, five work, and we will be doing one after another. Okay, and I must tell you, for each and everything, we have a different team. I repeat, there's one product, one organization, one objective, one goal, but five different team: architect team, design team, developers, testing team, and operations teams. So five different teams involved in the waterfall model, right? So, so why we are following the waterfall model? That is a question. Why we were following? Then you'll say, okay, earlier the release cycle was used to be 5 years, so we got 1 year immediate release. And then you'll say we want to reduce the software development cost and runtime, and same time we want to improve the quality. So waterfall model was serving to the maximum extent. Then finally we got the internet, and you know what is internet. I'm not going to bullshit around it. You know all this thing, you know app, you know how internet works, everything. But the one thing which you need to realize, that we all started consuming application on the browser, right? So now when you consume the application in the browser, where the application is running, is it running in your desktop? No, it started running where? So Orkut, Reddit, Hotmail, Gmail, Yahoo, where these applications are running, is running in the data center, and you are accessing these applications through the browser. So now the question is, people started talking about, hey, because earlier everyone used to run their own software in their own desktop, so the company don't have to take a burden on the compute resources and storage resources. But now we are running in the in the data center, so we have to take care of all this cost. So can we optimize the cost? Can we have the cost of optimization in terms of running the software? And that is where the companies introduce the virtualization concept, virtual server. So in the 1990s, we are running application on desktop. In 2000, we started using a data center with the help of virtual servers. So cost reduced. Now, because of virtual servers, we got it. Let's say AWS, Azure, and all this thing, VMware initiated and created revolutions in the VM world, virtual machines world. So, how much time it will take to set up a VM? 5 minutes. How can we use this application which you set up in the VM? Through browser. How you used to deliver the software as a software organization? Download option. What was the release cycle? See here, from last 1 year, it got reduced to 2 weeks. See here that we have reduced the release cycle for the software from 1 year to 2 weeks. So you cannot compensate having monolithic architecture and you supporting a 2 weeks. That means you cannot say, hey, everything I will get it done in 2 weeks, which I used to do in 1 year. So we have to change the architecture also, and that is where we change the architecture of the software, and we started calling service-oriented architecture. That means web server, app server, database servers. These are the service-based architecture. We got it, and for that reason, you have to change the software development model as well. So from waterfall, we got to migrated to agile model in 2000. Agile, we have a multiple stream like Kanban and Scrum and all kind of things. So agile model. So what we did in agile model, this is the agile model. So what we did, mind it here, in waterfall model, we had a 5 teams, at least let's say 3 teams: development, QA, and operations, for just for the sake of discussion. But in agile model, what we did, we combine the 2 teams together. Which team? Development and QA, and we say, hey, from now onwards, you are agile team, not a developer, not a QA. You are agile team, and you will be part of it, and ops were outside. So in this agile model, we have got 2 teams now instead of 3. Dev plus QA together is like agile team, and then operations. And this is the, those who's not having idea about the agile, uh, we all work together. You see this, there's a one master which is called scrum master. Multiple teams are there, multiple stakeholders are there. They work on the all these backlogs, and then they commit only for the 2 weeks. Whatever they can deliver in 2 weeks, they commit and bringing to the release, and then they start working on it. That means in the agile, what they did, the work which they are supposed to work in 1 year, they divide it in certain ways to deliver to that in a 2 weeks, and then move to the next work, something like that. So now you will ask, okay, why? I mean, at the time we were asking actually, why we are moving to agile. I mean, I remember we were in a multiple training of agile, Kanban, Scrum model, and all kind of things, and we were asking why the hell we are having training for us. Okay, waterfall was good, we were doing good, we have a multiple teams, we are, whatever the mindset which we had earlier. So again, same reason organization gave. They want to improve the quality of the software, and they want to bring the immediate release. You can't say, okay, Yahoo is down and you will solve after 1 year. You can't say like that. You have to reduce that release cycle. And the same time, you have to reduce the cost reduction in development and runtime. So, are you understanding the justifications why we are changing the model all the time? All of you?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So, this is the reason we have to change every time. So now, suddenly we know we started got the app based world. You know that I don't have to talk about it. What is this 4G, 5G, 6G? Nowadays we are talking about 6G also. So we got the app based world. This is the way nowadays we're consuming applications. Let me ask you one thing. In this world we all are connected with each other. Let me remind you, you are using the same HDFC bank what I'm using, you are using the same Facebook which I'm using, you are using the same LinkedIn which I'm using, you are using the same Twitter which I'm using, you are using the same Gmail what I am using. That means we all are using the same applications. Let's say if I ask you some questions, let's say if you're trying to rush to the office and Uber is not responding only for 5 seconds, what would you do? Only for 5 seconds, what would you do? All of you?
I mean, customers will be frustrated, of course,
I
availability of
mean,
an application matters. And
yeah, but what we
lo-
should do, let's say it's not accessible for 5 minutes.
We look
We
for
have to
other
build
options.
some
Yeah.
another
you look
application.
for other, yes, yeah.
So immediately you will switch for Ola, right? Immediately we will switch for Ola, correct now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If UPI is, let's say GPay is not working, phone pay. So here nowadays customers are not very, uh, honest with the, service provider. If you are not serving the things, it's not available, immediately will, switch for other stuff. That's a market. Let's say if one of the application is not responding, we'll switch to the others. That will result in a millions of lost dollar. Let's say Flipkart is not responding, Amazon, Flipkart has lost the business. So you have to take it very seriously, right? So the current world, we all are connected to the application, and then the important thing is quality of that application, cost and speed. Again, same points again and again. Quality, immediate release, cost reduction. So now the challenge is what you have one version of software, everyone is connected to the same application, and the software has to run 24 by 7 up and running without a no single second of downtime. I think last week we had some downtime in a Facebook. I think for a few seconds, and it's become a worldwide news actually, right? So that's the kind of world which we are getting into that. So now the question is, how can we serve this whole and user behavior? How can you reduce the software running cost? Because we migrated from the physical server to virtual server. Now what to do? So now again in 2021 rules, you have to migrate. You have to run your application in a container. What is container? You need to learn. Now you have to set up in 1 second. Yes, from 5 minutes to 1 second. That means you want to set up a whole infrastructure, hundreds of instances, and it should be 1 second. How we are consuming application through apps, how we are delivering the application through store, app store, play store. What are the release cycle? 1 hour. Yes, I mean it. 1 hour. That means you are going to plan, you're going to develop, you're going to test, you're going to deploy in 1 hour. You cannot say my Uber is down, guys. You have to wait for 1 day or 2 days or something like that. 1 day down. That means you are bringing the disaster to the organizations. So you have to fix it now. So the question is, we have to change the architecture also. How can you have a monolithic NSO and you can say support 1 hour release cycle? So you have to migrate to microservices. Divide all of your product, software, services, functionality into small services, and target the service which has a problem. So if you're building everything, you see, if you're coding everything, if you're planning everything, if you're testing everything, it will definitely take 2 weeks. But if you are only fixing the problems to the one of the code, which is the microservices, one of the service, one of the features, rest of the feature is still stable. Only you have to plan, code, test, and release only one of the microservices which has a four functionality: create, read, update, delete, and the code lines maybe 1,000 lines of code. So you have to change the architecture. Now the question is, guys, is very important here. In the waterfall model, how many teams we had? 5 teams we had it, but let's discuss only 3 teams for time being: development, testing, operation. In the agile model, what how many teams we had? 2 teams. Agile team, which we sometimes we call it engineering team also, dev and QA together, we call it one team, and then operations team. So now the question is, what we should introduce in terms of model or approach which will help us to serve in the change scenario. That means this is our change scenario, this is the reality. What should you do? And that is where the people started talking about, hey, let's do one thing. Let's bring the team, please hear me out, let's bring the development, testing, and operations under one umbrella. I repeat, under one umbrella. That means let's not call it 2 teams and 3 teams, because remember that the moment you say we are a different team, you have a different mindset, different culture, different processes, different practices, different reporting structure, different delivery, different goals, different tool sets, different gaps. You say we are different. The moment you say, things will get delayed. Let's say, I'll put it in this way. Let's say we are saying, hey, you are from Karnataka and you are from Tamil Nadu. Okay, so there are 2 states. The moment you say, hey, you are from Karnataka and you are from Tamil Nadu, then definitely you will start backing each your own states in terms of their own. But the moment you say you are India, so all the fighting will get disappeared immediately, because we are a one team now. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
yes,
Yes, we can understand.
So immediately the mindset change. The moment you say you are India, so immediately we'll say we are one people. We are one people, one goal, one process, one mindset, one team, one management, one leadership. Everything has become one. Practices, and the things will be faster. But the moment you say I'm this or that, the distance will be there. Integrations will be very complicated. So now the question people started talking about, hey, we have to come up with something like that, where development team, there's a lots of issues between the development team, testing team, and operations team. We have to fill the gap. Then some of the scientists come up and said, hey, let's do one thing. Let's put these 3 people together, these 3 teams together, have a common goal, common mindset, common practices, common culture. And what do we call it? What do we call it? What should we give a name for it? And that is where that they have decided we'll name this one DevOps. Means entire engineering teams and operations teams coming together under one umbrella with one mindset, one practices, one culture, one goal. Let's work it out together. So all the issues, whatever we were earlier doing between the fighting between the operations team and engineering team, is will get disappeared immediately. And that concept we call it a DevOps. So basically, I would say DevOps is not a model. I must correct it here. DevOps is not a model. Okay, waterfall is a model, agile is a model, scrum is a model, kanban is a model, network is a model, hierarchical is a model, but DevOps is not a model. What is that? So DevOps is an approach actually, in which we work together. We work together when we say we, that means development, testing, and operations work together under one roof, under one mindset, with one culture. So why we have to work together? Same goal. We have to improve the quality of the software. You have to reduce the release cycle, and you have to reduce the cost and all. So in order to implement the DevOps, now you need to know containers. What is containers? You have to understand the microservices. Anyways, DevOps we are doing CI/CD. Will learn SRE, DevSecOps, and many more things actually. So yeah, this is the process where we are trying to bridge the gap between the engineering team and operations teams. Why? Because if these two teams create a wall of confusion. There's a gap, integration issues, mindset issue, cultural issues, different process, different approval systems. So lots of issues we had it, and we have to fill this gap. And then we created a one team. That team we call it a DevOps. So now if you want to set up a DevOps, then you have to, work on to fix the problems which we have a multiple teams together. If you want to implement the DevOps, instead of multiple teams, there should be one team. Here, these are you can see the screen. There's a multiple teams. How can you bring it under one umbrella, one mindset? Multiple teams has to work together. You have to also integrate multiple tools also, because different teams are using different tools. How can you integrate flawless without manual interventions? So the moment you commit the code, whether we should know whether it should be released or not released. If not released, repeat it. So here you see the build happening, compiling happening, packaging happening, testing happening. Everything should be happening automatically. So you have to integrate each tools. Earlier, this integration was not happening. So let's say earlier one code is committed, and to get to know whether it's a good code or bad code, you used to take 2 to 3 days. Now, because we are integrating all the tools, whether it's a development or testing or operations, you will get to know within a 5 to 10 minutes, because you are not building everything. You are building one of the microservices where the code is there, and earlier it should take 1 hour of a build. Now, because of microservices, it will take 5 minutes to build. Okay, so feedback cycle has been reduced. So you have to integrate those multiple phases as well, because in software development we do a lot of things, right? We design, develop, testing, deployment, this, that, and all. So you have to integrate. In order to implement the DevOps, you have to integrate all this stuff. And there's so many tools. You see that so many phases we have in SDLC. You have to do integration. There's so many tools for integrations also. I'll teach you Jenkins as part of it. Okay, so this is the integrations. Look at this, so many tools you have to integrate, different used by different teams. Okay, so the question is, how do we address this quality release in the defined scenario, immediate release, and cost reduction? And that is where you have to bring the DevOps approach. It's not a model, as I said, it's approach. In this approach, what we are going to do, we are going to work together, bringing the development team, operations team, testing team under one umbrella, one mindset, one team. Let's become one team. The moment you say we are a team, all the issues will get disappear. I'll put it in a very simple way. If you are a two team, let's say one team is approaching the another team, and you say, hey, I want to get this task done, then you'll say send an email, invite for meeting. We'll see that we have our own priorities. It will take some time. Create a ticket. We'll follow up this, that, and all. But the moment you say within a team, let's say if some of my team is coming and asking for help, I'm not asking my team to create a ticket. I'll say, yeah, let's work together. Right? Are you understanding what I'm trying to say?
Rakesh, I'm just having a clarification. Okay, this agile development model, yes, I can understand. Okay, this DevOps model, whatever that you're telling, the QA team or the tester team can understand the operations. Okay, I had this incident once, and no, when I spoke to the development team at it, and it went to a mode where the development team were asking to take the development activities and fix something and run it in the pipeline, where no, most of the people don't no, not willing to do that, or we don't have that no understanding or doing that in the looking into the shoes of the developer. Okay,
See,
so
I'll tell you in this. See, what we have, I'm not talking about that one. Okay. What we have in the current system, I'm not talking about that one. Here, what I'm trying to address is when you call it a DevOps, what you are supposed to have. Okay, and that's what I initially first statement I said. There's so many stereotype misunderstanding about the DevOps. Many people feel DevOps is a kind of separate team apart from development, testing, and operations, and they'll take care of some of this, that, and all that. So definition is so loosely actually defined in many organizations, leading to failed implementation of DevOps. What I'm trying to say is a very simple word. Our objective is very simple, and you should lock down this objective, all of you, no matter whether you are learning today or after 10 years also. This will be objective all the time for the organization. Always they'll talk about the improving the quality, always they'll try to release the product faster, and always they try to focus on the cost reduction in development operation and running operations. Now the question is, what is a DevOps then? So here at a high level, I'm putting up in a DevOps, in waterfall model, we had three teams at a high level: development team, QA team, and operations team. And there were so many fightings in between these used to happen between this and this, leading to the release to be happen once in a year. This is the waterfall model. Now, objective, remind yourself with the objective. In this agile model, what we did, development and QA, we put it up and we say, hey, now you are not a development and QA, you are agile team. And then agile will take care of entire engineering approach, and then operations were separately. Okay, and this model we call it agile developments, where operations will be separate and agile team will consist of dev and team, and they'll work together. But in this model also there was lots of fighting between the operations versus the engineering team. Okay, operations will say I need a new feature, and sorry, development team will say I need a new features. Operation team says no, my priority is to make it stable, system stable. So there was a challenges actually in the agile model. What we are discussing about it, we are saying, hey, let's do one thing. There's a fighting between the operations and engineering team. Let's put it up together. So dev, when I say dev, means QA and development both, and then operations, put it together. But the question is, what we are going to name it, this team? And that is what I'm saying, we are calling this team as a DevOps team. So DevOps team means the people will be from the development, testing, operations, everyone under one umbrella, one leadership, one mindset, one culture, single processes, all these things. And that concept, that approach is called DevOps. Now the
Um,
question is, what is implemented in your organization? That's a different thing, because I know what you are talking about. Getting more
so
points?
Raj, I have a question. So the approach is DevOps, but what about the segregation of duties in the DevOps approach, right? Will the development and when you club it also, like, will the core development team will they be working on just the development alone, or will they be working on ops as well, like that, ops vice versa?
See, if I give you the honest answer, I think I want you to read my one of my slides, and it should be very clear to all of you. Okay, very clear. Please read these slides. In the real way, you can call yourself as a DevOps if you are ready. I'm saying ready. See, what you are doing on real, I'm not commenting on that. Okay, so be specific. Every project, every organization is different. But when we define the DevOps, I'm supposed to teach you the right thing. When you say you are a DevOps enabled team, DevOps enabled organization, DevOps engineer, then you should be ready for this. What? So I am coding for the function of the software. That means developer. I am coding for the testing of the function of the software. That means QA. And I'm coding for the infra, CI, CD, integration, operation, SRE, for building and running the software. That means operations. Everywhere you're coding, and you are under the one umbrella one team, all of you, all these functions, all these people, all these key contributors are under the one roof, and that team we call it a DevOps. Now the question was what I'm going to do. So let me tell you, be frank, most of the organizations will be doing the third activities as a DevOps engineer. But there is a stereotype. We are supposed to get the partially testing work done also, and coding development work done also. That means on real time, I mean, if you be realistic, you are supposed to do one work 80% and remaining work, let's say 10% and 10%. But I know that in real time it's not happening. Some people are working on the CI, some people on team operations, SRE, monitoring, tool system, testing. Again, we have 2 3 teams. So real time, that's a different implementation actually, and that's what we call it failure in implementing the DevOps in many organizations, and that is where the Google has introduced SRE. Why SRE is becoming very relevant from last 1 or 2 years? Because of failure of DevOps implementations. Getting my points?
Yeah. Yeah.
So one mindset I would like you to change today only, and in fact, I think we have one more software engineer, AI software engineer. What is the name? Anyone recall that? I forgot the name.
Darwin.
Last week only. Huh? Which one?
Darwin.
Yeah. Sorry, I could not hear you. That what was the name? Something. AI software engineer recently. I mean, last week got
David.
introduced.
Prompt engineer,
Devin.
So yeah, something like
prompt
that. Yeah.
engineer.
Yeah. Yeah. No. 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 There's a one AI software engineer got introduced.
Oh yeah, that
Darwin
Voice.
was in
AI.
the news. Yeah, Darwin.
Yeah.
Darwin AI.
AI engineer. So if you do not change the, you know, your mind, DEVIN. Last week only is got introduced. And let me use. I was reading that some of the news around it. They're solving the real time problem posted at Upworks, which is Upworks. If you see that the state actually is very over there, and they are able to solve it. So that is important. I don't know. I don't care whether you're writing a code in Python for the software, or maybe Selenium code for the testing the software, or maybe and right. So, are you able to understand the concept and requirement for the DevOps? All of you.
Yes.
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 So, guys, many people think DevOps is a tool. Many people think DevOps is automation. I'm a dev team. I have automated everything. That means I'm a DevOps. I'm a QA team. I have automated everything. That means I'm a DevOps. No, DevOps not only tools, or not only automation, not only the access right, not only the teams, different teams. DevOps is all about how we communicate, understand, integrate, and build a relationship between the each other, so the work can be faster. So DevOps is not a new technology or a product. Mind it, it's not a product, at least it's not a new technology, just an approach or cultural changes in a development team, in a software engineering team. Why? So we want two things. One is system should be stable. Same time, the we want new feature always to be there. And that to bring both the things together, we have to come up with the merging these two key roles like engineering team and operations team together so that things can be faster. That's all. So stability plus new feature you want the same time, and that is the objective of DevOps. So guys, are you able to understand that what is a DevOps now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, someone will ask you, "Hey, okay, fine. There's so many, discussions which can happen, but I'm ignoring it. But point-to-point discussion. This is the most important slides actually. Someone will ask you, "Hey, okay, fine. If I can hire you, but you have to tell me if I hire you, how what you are going to do? How can you implement the DevOps in my project in my company. So you have to tell, in order to start the implementing the DevOps, the team should be agile enabled. That means your developers and QA people should be working under the agile concept. So that is called coding. Right now we are doing an automated, just add the automated, okay, automated build, automated integration, automated testing, automated release, automated deployment. Okay, so here coding plus automated build and automated integration, that three things. Integration means testing process by large. So that three process, call it agile development. So if you say, if someone will ask you, hey, how to implement DevOps? So first you say, step number one, we have to implement the agile development process first. After that, you have to integrate automated testings also, and that is called continuous integration. Many people say, what is CI? So CI means automated build, automated integration, automated testing. If you set it up and then getting immediate feedback, that's called CI. If your CI is success, mind it, then you will release, mind it. If your CI success means automated testing is successful, then you will do the release, and that is called continuous delivery. Means successful implementation of CI is called continuous delivery. And if you are the whatever the package you got it as part of the CI, output of the successful CI, you are deploying in the production automated way. I said automated way, you are deploying the production, that is called continuous deployment. And the things which operate from the code to automated build, automated integration, automated testing, automated release, deployment and operate, that's called DevOps. So if someone is asking you, hey, how can you implement the DevOps? So first you say, we need to have a agile team in place. After that, we should focus on setting up the implementing the CI. Then after that, continuous delivery. Then after continuous deployment. And the moment we reach to the continuous deployment, we are already enabled DevOps. In order to do that, we have to ask development, testing, and operations teams work together, integrate all the teams, all the phases, all the tools together, and then culturally the change will happen in the mindset. That means we are willing to work with each other, share the responsibility, willing to contribute the work in each other's area. And if that is happening, that moment we have implemented the DevOps. So if you look at this here, these are the multiple phases which we have in SDLC cycle. It's not talking about any tools. You can use any tools for any of these purposes, but the green arrow which you see, that's called integrations. So that has to happen. And the moment we have automated code, I mean code is committed by development, automated is building, automated integration, automated testings, and all this thing. The moment we are doing in an integrated environment, that is called DevOps. Are you understanding, all of you?
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me now sum up this discussion. If someone will ask you what is DevOps, I think we should answer DevOps is a cultural changes. Okay, it's not a tool. It's not something like a DevOps is a separate team. No, it's not like that. It's a cultural changes where we all means dev, QA, and operations work together under one mindset. And the culture what we have within a team is saying that, hey, let's work together. Let's, whatever the challenge we have, let's work together. You are doing coding, no problem. I can also contribute towards the testing and operations. I'm operations guy. I can also contribute towards development and testing. I'm a testing guy. I can also contribute towards the development and operations. We work together. We, whatever the challenges we have, we work together. We are not going to, fight with each other. We are not going to escalate to each other. We are going to work together to solve all the problem. So it's like a cultural changes. And once the culture is changed, you say, hey, I'm willing to work together. I'm willing to code for either product or testing the product or the CI/CD and operations. Then the next thing will come implementing the CI part, continuous integration. That means let's merge all the tools, let's merge all the pages, let's automate everything, and let's implement the CI/CD, and then work is done. Why we are going for the DevOps? Because organization wants to reduce the development cost and runtime cost. Organizations or consumer wants to have the functionality that should be running 24 by 7 without even single millisecond of downtime. An organization want the faster release. At the same time, the stability of the system define the quality, and quality cannot be addressed by one person. Everyone has to work together to maintain the quality of the software. So we have a DevOps. Make sense, all of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, getting it.
Okay, so I think this will be sufficient, but let me tell you here, in the system, in LMS, we have a 4 hours of theoretical recordings, theoretical sessions on the DevOps. Each and everything has been discussed in a little bit depth. So you can also, if you are having interest to know a little bit more about the DevOps theoretical part, you can watch those videos. But yeah, for time being, I think this should be sufficient to get started. I'm going to send you the assignment for it. All of you have to do religiously. All the access will be given in the system in the next couple of hours or maybe by tomorrow or something, and we can get started working on it.
Have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video.
Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest.
Thanks for watching.